All right, what's up, guys? Jackson Abe here today. Today, we're going to talk about the pyramid of importance when it comes to components of our nutrition. And we're going to talk about five different pillars, if you would like to think of it like that. Um, Kind of talking about what makes up the base of our pyramid and the foundation of our diets and our nutrition plan, and then things that we tend to overemphasize that really don't play that big of a factor when it comes down to it. So we're just going to jump right into this. First and foremost, macros are going to be the biggest component when it comes to our nutrition. If we are not fueling ourselves properly for our goals or our endeavors, we can't expect to see the results that we're looking for. But then, not only that, if we can't even meet simple daily requirements of protein intake, a carb intake, and a fat intake, all the other stuff is pretty useless. You can try to outsmart or out hack your way through a diet, but it's just a timeless principle. It's calories in, calories out, following somewhat of a macro plan to a degree. Even all the fad diets out there, which we're going to get into, really all it is encompassing a certain amount of macronutrient intake, whether that's the timing of it, the certain kinds that you're prioritizing, or the things that you are trying to minimize or stay away from, right? So macros are going to basically be the base of our pyramid. It's the most important thing. Protein, especially, regardless of your goal, you should be shooting for a high daily protein intake. That is going to be the absolute base, the bare minimum of what we need to focus on and accomplish every single day. And if we cannot do that, everything else is going to be pretty useless. But what is also relatively equally important, in my opinion, some people would disagree, but the micronutrients. So what is composing the foods and the macros that you are eating? Are you eating a cheeseburger from McDonald's, or are you eating a 12-ounce, New York strip that has a ton of micronutrients in it, a ton of good vitamins and minerals, and other beneficial things aside from the protein itself? What are your carbs made up of? Are you eating, cinnamon toast crunch, or are you eating a sweet potato that's loaded with micronutrients? These things matter and they do make a difference. You can definitely follow the if it fits your macros trend, but at the end of the day, what makes up the macros you're eating is, in my opinion, very important. I wouldn't say equally, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to shoot for the micronutrients over the macronutrients, and again, you're underfueling, you're not getting adequate protein synthesis, it doesn't really matter. So it's kind of like a 1A, 1B scenario, but macros is definitely the base of the pyramid, is the most important thing. But like I said, what composes the foods that you are eating is equally as important, in my opinion. The timing of things is moderately important, but it's something that I think people worry a little bit too much about. At the end of the day, you just need to make sure that you're getting your macronutrient intake in. Making sure that you're hitting your protein, you're hitting your carbs, you're hitting your fats. If you cannot do that, nothing else matters. Yes, while I would love for everyone to have the same meal plan template set up to where they can evenly space all their meals out, whether that's 4 or 5 or 6, or even 3, making sure that they're getting maybe snacks in between those 3 or 4 meals to just keep the metabolism up, keep the protein synthesis up. Outside of that, it really doesn't matter as long as you're getting it in at the end of the day. I would love, like I said, for everyone to have the availability to evenly space out their meals and constantly be consuming small meals to keep those things up, but that's just not, it's not real. It's not ideal for a lot of people, and it just doesn't fit in a lot of people's schedules. So the timing of things matters, but at the end of the day, you just need to make sure that you're getting in, like I said, your protein, carbs, and fats. It is ideal to keep meal times between 3 and 5 hours. But if you have to go longer stretches of time without it, but you're hitting your macros at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Now, things like supplements do play a role. I am a big fan of creatine. I'm a big fan of making sure that people hit their protein intake. And so if that requires you to have a whey protein or a whey isolate at your disposal, please feel free to do so. I'm also a very big proponent of supplementing a few other things like magnesium, fish oil pills, as well as vitamin D. A lot of people lack these 3 things, and they tend to not get them from their diet or get outside enough to get the natural vitamin D. Most people don't eat fish. I definitely don't consume fish on a regular basis. And so these things are important to supplement. So you do want to make sure that you are investing in some higher quality supplements on those lines. Magnesium, fish oil, and vitamin D. it's still important to get outside so you can get the natural vitamin D. It's important to get magnesium from certain foods. But those are things that you can and should be supplementing. Now, things like branched chain amino acids, pre-workouts, sleep aids, those things are not fat burners. Those things are not what we should be prioritizing. Again, if we cannot focus on these two things right here, nothing else matters. Like I said, there's some supplements that help and something that we should be taking, but they're not, it's hard, like they're obviously, yes, supplements, but they're not detracting from, we're not trying to fill a gap by avoiding certain foods and then here's a supplement. No, we're making sure that we're prioritizing these two things. And then on top of that, we're making sure that we're topping off our protein stores at the end of every single day with a protein shake. We're getting in adequate creatine, and we're supplementing certain nutrients that we need that we don't really get from our diets. So that's one thing, but all the other things aside, like those other supplements, are just a waste of time and a waste of money. You know, you can get everything that you're out looking for in a supplement, mostly from food. You know, plain as day. Thousands and thousands of years ago, they did not have supplements, but they were very healthy people that lived long lives then. And we can definitely learn things from how they practiced nutrition back in way back in the day. Now, this can kind of just encompass anything, but really this is what I'm talking about when people place a lot of emphasis on or things they worry about because they're good talking points, they're good for social media, but at the end of the day, they're just things that are spinning the hamster wheel. They do not really matter. They just give something for people to fixate on, kind of an escape to actually just working around, working hard, and just doing the due diligence and being consistent with your diet, eating the foods that you know you're supposed to be eating on a 7-day basis. Not a 4-day basis, not a 5-day basis, not a 6-day basis, a 7-day basis. Yes, we will have cheat meals. Yes, we will fall off the train every now and then. But if you can, for the most part, be dialed in 7 days a week, you are going to have a lot more success than someone who's 100% for 5 days and absolute trash for 2. Okay? So other things that people tend to really worry about are things like fads, different trends, hacks that they can get into. That kind of goes in line with the supplements. Like, what can I do to not have to eat this food? Or what can I do to, you know, X, Y? It doesn't really matter. But other things like worrying about, like, is your food organic and things like that? Like, yes, it matters for some people because of they may have certain things going on. But for the most part, people just find things to fixate on like that and how they're going to prepare their foods, what they're going to store their food in, things of those natures. Worrying about, oh, I don't like leftovers. You know, then you need to figure it out. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, everyone else has the same struggles that you do. Someone else has had it worse and they've been able to figure it out. Someone has had less resources than you and they've been able to figure it out. So at the end of the day, it really boils down to finding something that you can sustain long term, that you can adhere to, that you're really not going to divert from no matter what, no matter whether it's family gatherings, vacations, holidays, it doesn't matter. As long as you can have a structure that you can adhere to 365, that's what matters. Like I said, we are going to fall off the train. Every now and then you will need to go get that McDonald's cheeseburger, but that's far and few between, and limiting or minimizing that intentional habit of going to get that cheeseburger, going to the gas station in the morning. Those are the things we want to prevent so that we can set ourselves up for long-term success, right? We don't want to fall into the fad diet trend of trying to, you know, go crazy on one end of the spectrum like a keto or something along those lines. You know, we just want to balance. We want to make sure that we can find something that is sustainable, that we can stick to long-term to give us the best results. And I was going to be prioritizing whole, nutrient-dense food for macros, getting good micros from our food, and trying for the most part to focus on eating 3 to 6 quality meals a day. Those are the things that are going to really make up the base of our pyramid and going to give us the best chances of long-term sustainable results, but built habits over time as well. So if you guys got anything from this video, if you have anything to add, shoot it down below in the comments. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at abestrength@gmail.com. Reach out to me on Instagram at abe_strength. If you guys are interested in any coaching, I do offer one-on-one coaching. Just go to my website and it'll take you to a Google Doc questionnaire. You can fill the questionnaire out from there. And if you guys are interested for a little bit more hands-off approach, but you still like some of the videos that I make or the way that I train, check out some of my training programs. They have all been done by myself or a client in some capacity. Yes, some exercises may have been tweaked, yada, yada, whatever. But these are proven programs that have proven results for many different demographics to reach many different goals. And I would really appreciate it if you guys went and checked those out as well. Again, shoot your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the page, and any likes and shares on this video is greatly appreciated, and I thank you guys for all your support.